Usamos estampillas.
You are now tuned in to your number one radio station.
Violent people.
Radio.
Welcome to Violent People Radio, episode 45. I'm Dan Rice. I'm here joined as always with Pat. How's it going, Pat?
So, I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing great. We have Chris here as well. Chris, how you doing?
Okay, can I?
All right. And then Sam's gone, and we have a special guest host of Dusk Pro, Parm. How's it going, Parm?
Feeling a whirlwind of emotions ahead of various other things, but you know what? We'll just say good.
I like it. I feel like we all have a lot to talk about, especially for the big top. So I just kind of want to like jump into it and be like, Pat, talk about the terrible wrestling you've been watching, and start with I wouldn't call it terrible, but start with the Mickey Knuckles match that you made us all watch.
No. First
Is
we
that
gotta
the one
start
where
with
she was
what
like dying, essentially?
I think
That
that's
doesn't
all.
narrow
Of
it down enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, I could even say this is the one with multiple dildo spots, and that still wouldn't narrow it down. But no, first I need to get, because while I was at work today, I was listening to Rule Breakers with
Oh.
Saraya in conversation with Kale Lowry from Teen Mom, and you were quick to be like, I have a lot of Kale opinions, and so
Jesus.
I need to hear them because I just listened to an hour of her and Paige from WWE talking about shitting themselves.
She's she's
I'm
one
not
of the worst.
exaggerating, by the way. That is like the whole conversation was them talking about like various stories of pooping their pants.
I find her to be the most annoying of all the teen moms, and I know way too much about the teen moms. She's the one that the I guess the father of the baby that made her teen mom, Joe, has that famous line where he walks up to her and goes, "It's a beautiful day," and she goes, "Yeah." And he says, "You don't deserve to see the sun. You should be in a cave."
Jesus.
Which I think about once a day.
That's like better than wrestling promos.
It's real good.
And yeah, no, she and Paige got along perfectly. So
That adds up.
it's, it continues to be the best podcast in existence.
How long has this
because
podcast been around?
3 weeks.
Okay.
And
All right.
it is just Paige like living out her Viva La Bam fantasies. I keep calling her Paige instead of Saraya, but Paige. That's
we
how I knew
are
her first.
about 2 minutes into our podcast where you're calling a different podcast the best podcast in the world. I appreciate that.
We need to take notes from how Rule Breakers does it. Also, I tried to I wanted to listen to it while I was at work, and I spent 10 minutes trying to Google the podcast Hellraisers with Saraya because it's such a good podcast. I didn't know the name of it after listening to it twice already.
So she has 2 podcasts going on right now.
Does she?
No. Oh. No, I thought you were saying Hellraisers were the second one.
I completely forgot the name of it and spent 10 minutes trying to Google a podcast that didn't exist.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, no, it's a great listen for fans of wrestling who want to hear what falling on your head over and over again does to you.
Leah Messer, one of the teen moms, lives about 25 minutes from my front door, so I guess I could try to see if I can get her on the show. I'm trying to take notes from Saraya.
Please do.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
I mean, it's a shame we couldn't show her the Mickey Knuckles match. So I made Chris and Dan watch. Parm, are you familiar with X Brand Wrestling out of New Jersey?
I am not.
It would be
Okay, so
insane if you were.
you
I was
never
like
know.
racking my brain for other X name wrestling promotions. I kept thinking of Super X, which is Hoovendoos promotion.
Super X, equally amazing for bad reasons. XPW is like, imagine if XPW had even less money, and not even like, glory years XPW, like recent XPW.
Okay,
Imagine
I
if
can
they
already
were like,
picture this promotion. There's one in the PNW that's kind of like this.
right. And I mean, this is like if Pacific North Death had a budget of negative money.
Oh, so like Dusk.
I think Dusk is probably still better. Like, does Dusk have a ring or access to a ring?
We do, unfortunately. Yeah, we can't
Okay.
top that.
Yeah, no, these guys, they have a ring, but it doesn't look, it looks like a ring that someone made. One of the shows I watched an episode of their TV show on YouTube, which is called Going Viral,
Uh-huh.
and it was it was literally a boxing ring with
Oh,
the
that's
four
scary.
ropes. Yeah,
Okay.
I
Is this
watched.
I was seeing clips of like a wrestling show in a boxing ring. Is this that one? Or is this a different place?
If anyone clipped this, I can't imagine. It's not the sort of thing that you want to show people unless you're me and you're
It
like,
was
"Hey,
the
Dan and
Tripping
Chris,
Balls
watch
account
the fucking
that did it.
worst thing ever." I should also specify Expert in Wrestling. Their logo looks like someone drew a swastika. I don't know. Did you two pick up on that, Dan and Chris?
I cannot say that I took the logo in enough to know that.
Okay, it's an X. It's almost like they kind of tried to do like a Metallica thing with like the serifs on the X, and it just makes it look like someone tried to draw a swastika and got confused. I have no idea if that casts any more light onto what this promotion is about, but who knows? It's
I'm
indie
looking
wrestling.
at this logo as we speak. Why does the X look like that?
I
Oh, I see what I see.
But
Mm.
when I watched the episode of Going Viral, the first thing that happened was they announced the new general manager, Veronica Kane.
Oh my god.
This is like this is my dream promotion. It's shady. They clearly don't have any resources of any kind. They're bringing in Veronica Kane for some reason, who, as she introduces herself as the GM, she first bills herself as like the CEO of her parkour company. And she comes out to Rock Superstar by Cypress Hill, which I just enjoyed hearing for the first time in 23 years. So they had two matches on this episode of Going Viral. One of them was a father versus son match with a guy named Papa Juice versus his son, Kid Chaos. And I don't really know how to say that. I'm 99% sure that Kid Chaos has progeria, the aging disease. He definitely has some kind of alopecia thing, like the guy from Barry. I am fairly certain I watched a chairs match. It was a chairs match built around chair shots, and I'm pretty sure I just watched a father struggle to not brain his son with progeria with a steel chair. It's like my brain shattered instantly. And then the main event of it was a 6-person death match title match. And so as we're recording this today, earlier today, that podcast with Phil Schneider and Eddie Kingston came out. Did you guys listen to that?
I did.
I
not
have
yet.
it downloaded.
Well, without spoiling anything, at one point they do talk about the Anarchy in the Arena match a little bit, where with the one with Eddie with the gas can. And one of the things Eddie talks about is how the production team had the hardest job in the world of filming all these people in all these places doing all these things, and somehow they nailed it. This is the exact opposite of that. You have a 6-person match that is filmed where like the high spots are happening in the background while they film like someone rolling around on the mat. just genuinely deranged television. There's a guy named Masty in it who a friend of mine told me promotes Smash Master Wrestling in Pennsylvania. He gives Angel Metro, she's like the blonde version of Tara Zepp without the clown makeup. He gives Angel Metro maybe the most unsafe power bomb I've seen in a long time. She's standing on the apron. He's on the floor. He just grabs her by the ass, rips her into position, and then spikes her straight on her neck, like sort of hitting a board. So if you're into that, if that's your fetish, you found a new home, just like I have. And the match that I made sure Dan and Chris watched was from their next show called Are You Saved, which was filmed with a decrepit-looking, homemade-looking ring in what was clearly someone's yard in Glassboro, New Jersey. And it was Mickey Knuckles versus the boss, Christian Ross. And Dan, you mentioned, I think it was you who said that you need to get like a tetanus test after watching this match.
Oh, I'm a guy that's used to some grimy wrestling, and this still felt gross.
This was like part of it was how it was filmed, because it was filmed by someone like waving their phone, or it was filmed by multiple people just waving their phones around. And there was a lot of dildos in it. There's a lot of Mickey Knuckles talking to herself, just kind of like making sarcastic asides about the match as it was happening. Christian Ross went all in on just being a sex weirdo, which, if you're wrestling Mickey Knuckles, you're in for a sex weirdo match no matter what. He took it to like uncomfortable levels. And the whole thing just had me staring wide-eyed at my television like, I can't believe wrestling is this fucking cool. Dan, Chris, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I had the thought that if you showed this match to like 100 different people, first of all, you would be put in jail for that.
Absolutely. You cannot watch this match within 500 feet of a school.
But if you like showed people this match and you asked them, what year did this take place?
Yes.
The latest answer you would get is 2007.
I would say like 2004. Like I would say backyard. This looked like such a backyard wrestling show in the way that was completely out of style by it.
It is the worst vibes, just like the most dirtbag Jersey shit I have seen in a very long time, and I've seen some dirtbag ass shit.
This is a promotion where you can't buy ticket, like you can't go to like Eventbrite and buy the ticket. You have to DM their account to get the address of where they're holding the show. Which, in keeping with the fucking broken swastika logo, that is how like white supremacists do their gatherings to make sure that they're not, protested. So that's another. We need to get Tim to talk. I feel like Tim would like this would be like a Rosetta Stone unlocking all of the craziest parts of his brain.
So my thoughts. It's a 22 minute YouTube file. I think you're within at least 90 seconds, maybe a minute. You see the chair with the dildo on it. And
Yes.
Chekhov's gun, you're like, okay, then, we're going to get this eventually. We're going to have to wait for it. But no. 4 minutes into the file, maybe 5. It is being
like
used.
The second spot of the match.
It is being used thoroughly. And there's so many dildo spots. Like, even if you told me like, hey, Mickey Knuckles in the match with a dildo, I'd be ready for what I think I would be ready. I wasn't ready.
So
I'm kind of mad. I almost put this on my living room TV.
Oh my god.
No one was watching anything, and I thought, you know what? Pat's saying to watch this. Let's just watch it on my phone right here, real quick.
yeah,
I made
so
the right
for those
choice.
who are not brave enough to watch it, they came out with a steel chair with a dildo suction cupped onto the seat of the chair, and then almost immediately did a drop to Mickey does a drop toe hold to Christian Ross onto the chair, Raven style, except instead of putting his eye out like Raven did to Scotty Riggs, it puts the dildo right into Christian Ross's mouth. And this is not the only time in the match that Mickey Knuckles will be shoving a dildo into someone's mouth. Another thing I thought about while I was watching it, which, production wise, it made me think about, when you film women's wrestling, you have to be much more careful, I guess is the word, to avoid like angles and stuff that's just,
Someone needs to
unsavory.
tell Drew Cordero this.
Well, Drew Cordero, that's his business, baby.
I would say that's the exact opposite of his business model.
Yeah. But this is the thing where I'm watching this for free on YouTube, and I am fairly certain that I saw Mickey Knuckles' pussy at least once. Like
It
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 the
shouldn't be on
filming of
YouTube for long. It violates a lot of the terms of service.
Yeah.
yes.
I don't think I had to check anything to say I was 18, and this is I should have had to like check something to say I was 30.
It felt like everyone in the audience should have had to sign a consent form. Like everyone there in the live show. Like it. Now I have a question. I wasn't really listening to the commentary. Was that woman at the end? Was that Veronica Kane?
Yes.
I didn't. I haven't thought of
Yeah,
Veronica Kane in
she
20
was there
years.
right at the beginning. 'Cause, like, I guess the bit there was like Christian Ross was like on Team Veronica Kane.
Hmm.
So Mickey Knuckles, that's why she slammed Veronica onto Christian and then pinned them both.
Yeah.
I
Spoiler
get
alert.
yeah, I mean, spoiler alert, Mickey Knuckles wins the match in a, shitty New Jersey indie. Do we know if she's booked for Bloodsport or any of those shows?
I think her and Lou Nixon were going to be on Bloodsport, but
Yeah, that we lost out on the Mickey Knuckles versus Lou Nixon match.
oh my god. But yeah, I honestly think if you think you should watch it, you should watch it. But everyone else, please don't.
If you pride yourself on, like, if you have
Morals.
if you're one of those people who knows like the classic All Japan matches by date and can just bust out like 6 9 95, you will almost certainly hate this match. It will be everything that you do not think is cool about wrestling. If you have ever watched or enjoyed a Sandman match, you might like this. If you have ever watched and enjoyed like XPW, this is do it. Go right now. Pause this, go watch that, then rewind and listen to all this again.
Did you watch
But
anything
yeah,
else?
oh, fucking Battle Riot, of course.
Oh, good man. I need to take a moment to say no one has ever listened to me in my life on this show on the Discord. It seems like last week everyone's like, okay, we're gonna watch Battle Riot, the worst MLW show of the year.
I admit I did fall asleep at one
Well,
point during it.
yeah, rightfully so.
But I did watch the actual Battle Riot itself. I thought that the last two was a actually kind of inspired choice. The thing I didn't like about the Riot was that all the CMLL guys clearly had a plane to catch, because I feel like by halftime in the match, all the CMLL guys had come out and had been thrown out.
Well, they kind of did this last year too, where like the first half is like you CMLL guys get to all do it together, but this one it was like all the CMLL guys and Raj Jesse get to come out in the beginning. Like if I told you
Raj
Blue
Jesse-
Panther had two main
That is the practice.
opponents in this: Ultimo Guerrero and Jinder Mahal.
I mean, that's the sign of a true pro, that he can have a quality match with both of them.
I mean, I thought the first half was really good, and I didn't hate the Battle Riot, but I'm like MLW pilled. Like I am more devoted to these guys than I should be. But I hated the last two. It comes down to, I'm gonna spoil it, Matt Riddle and Rob Van Dam. I was always fairly certain Matt Riddle was gonna win, but then when you bring in Rob Van Dam, like I don't believe that you're gonna put the title on him. So all that stuff
I
again
can
kind of fell
totally
flat.
imagine MLW putting the title on Rob Van Dam.
I think the
But I also,
MLW title has a pretty consistently good legacy, especially if you like Kojima.
All right, buddy.
I'm just saying. I'm gonna read you the
when it- when-
champions since 2002: Shane Douglas, Kojima, Mike Awesome, Steve Carino, Shane Strickland, Loki, Tom Lawler, Jacob Fatu, Alex Hammerstone, Alex Kane, Kojima, Matt Riddle. If you ignore 3 of those guys, that's an all-time list.
Even without
I mean-
ignoring them, that's an absurdly stacked list, to be honest.
It's a really good list, right?
Shout out the Alex
I just-
Kaner. I forgot that happened.
I thought
Yeah,
that
I forgot
Colt
he was
Bauer
camp there.
got a major win over Brett Lauderdale, though, because he did Matt Riddle versus Rob Van Dam first, when that you would think that would be like a Joey Janela's Spring Break 10 dream match.
That actually is that match took place in Chillicothe, Ohio.
Did it?
That was the
Okay,
that's the
well,
first place to do it, because that's the one. It took place. They did like 10 minutes of Matt Riddle versus Rod Van Dam, and then for some reason it turned into Matt Riddle and Rod Van Dam versus Chris Harris and James Storm.
I assume in that situation, no one wanted a job in that scenario.
Yeah, but I just think of course, that's where it takes place.
Yes.
So, did you watch any of the other matches on this show?
I'm sure I definitely watched like the first match, and then I was kind of drifting a bit.
Okay, because that's the
And,
part I feel like I have to
so
apologize for. I
at some
felt like
point
there
I
was
fell
nothing
asleep.
good beforehand.
At some point I fell asleep, and I'm not really sure when I fell asleep. I woke up like a few minutes before the battle riot started.
I do think Shoko Nakajima winning the title from Delmi Exo just confirms my suspicion that they booked the feud with Delmi and Janae Kai, and then we're like, oh shit, now Delmi has to win the title, and they had to get it off of her. They realized they didn't really want her to be champions. That is what it always felt like.
Is it that, or is it that they didn't want to sacrifice Janai to Shoko Nakajima?
That's a good point too. But even you had the CMLL 6-man.
I should note,
Atlantis Jr.
Janai Kai did work an XPW show in 2024. I looked it up.
Oh my god, I would not have thought that. But yeah, they had a Janai Kai match and that women's title match, and then two CMLL matches, and neither CMLL matches were really anything to write home about. So it was a pretty lackluster show. And then if you're not, in the MLW storylines, but for me, it's like Alex Hammerstone's back. You got Alex Kane in there. You got all the CMLL guys. Oh, Austin Aries is on commentary.
But yes, that was, I had blocked that out of my mind. And he sounded like his preparation for the role was like showing up and asking if they could use him tonight.
Well, I was very certain that he was going to end up in the match because he seemed so unprepared for commentary that I thought, oh, I guess they decided maybe put him on commentary, then he comes in. That's the way they get him in. But no, he was just there to do commentary and knew nothing about what was going on.
He was also even worse than me with just like pausing mid-sentence. Like, I'm aware that I do that, and he was just, it's death on wrestling commentary when someone is trying to, like what I'm doing right now, figure out how to finish their thought before they've, like when they've already started talking. Like that whole thought that I just tried to express, that's what he sounded like all night, at least for the parts I was.
And then Joe Dombrowski kept trying to like pitch it to him like a professional, and he always had nothing. And I was like, Joe, you got to stop. Just keep talking. He's got nothing. And then our boy Paul Walter Hauser, he didn't win, but like he was the star of this match.
Yes.
He gets eliminated, and then him and the Matt Justice and the Horsemen just have like a match outside of the Battle Riot. And of course, Paul Walter Hauser, he bleeds because he's a real wrestler.
So what's the deal with Tom Lawler in the cutoffs? Is that just his thing now?
That's just how he dresses, I think.
Okay. I was wondering if there was some sort of like gimmick to it that I was just like, oh, did I miss, like Tom Lawler deciding he was Big Stevie Cool? Or
Now, Chris, what were your thoughts on MLW Battle Riot?
Oh, I definitely watched it.
Okay. Well, you previewed it last week.
Yeah. And yeah, I had a great time watching all of my favorite wrestlers in
you go.
MLW, my favorite promotion, that I respect, that I love,
That
that I
check
keep
is
up with
cashing.
religiously. Did I do a good job?
You did it. Yep. Court's gonna pay us. All right, Pat. Did you watch anything else?
no.
All right.
I'm still, I know this is a running bit of like, I didn't have any time to watch anything. That's just how it is right now.
I'm
I
gonna
have
go
lots of stuff
next
I
just
want to watch.
because you took a lot of what I watched. I watched that match you made me watch, and I watched all of MLW.
Well, the
Outside of that,
MLW was me trying to kick it over to you.
oh, I appreciate that. Outside of that, I watched the Astronauts versus Nakamura and Shinya Aoki match, and I thought it was just okay. I don't know. I was real excited by it because I think Aoki's like best in the world, and people are really high on it, and it was good. Shinya Aoki still one of the best in the world. Some of the astronaut stuff, man, it's just still some of it just gets too cutesy. I'm a guy that just watched the dildo match, so like I have like a pretty high threshold, but I don't know. It
I
didn't.
think if someone explained to Abe what a dildo was, that would be it for his, like, he would become basically like a Brahman brother, just 1,000,000 times
Yeah. So I
weird.
mean, like I said, I
Not let
didn't
him
hate it. It just
discover.
didn't make me want to search out more of the highly touted recent astronaut matches. But I feel like people have been talking up their matches recently, and that just like I said, that was just makes me want to watch more Aoki, not more of them. Outside of that, though, I do need to say that it turns out, I hate to say it, Discord was right and I was wrong. There were people talking about 1996 wrestling, and they were talking about Michinoku Pro, the 10-10 these days 10-man tag, and the 12-16 10-man tag between Kayatai DX and then the 10-10s Hamada, Grand Nanawa, Yakasuji, Delphin, and Tiger Mask, and then the 12-16 one has Great Sasuke. In my memory, I always was like 10-10's the one. I loved it when I was a kid. I actually think, it's a hipster opinion. I think the December one's better. It's head and shoulders better. It's like Kaintai DX is so much nastier in it. The offense is just killer, and the crowd's going insane in this one. And I mean, I still like the 10-10 one, but I think a lot of that is nostalgia, where it's like if this 12-16 one match happened on WrestleMania weekend, like people would be losing their minds. It was so fucking good. I mean, I probably hadn't watched either of them in over a decade, so I wasn't, like I said, I was just going on my memory, like 10-10 these days is the better one, and absolutely not. So besides that, and all that's like within the last probably 24 hours or so that I watched all that. So didn't really get to wrestling as much as I wanted to this week. Too much real life stuff going on. But Chris, outside of MLW, what did you watch?
I mean, it's hard to make time for wrestling when or other wrestling when you're watching so much MLW. So I didn't watch a whole lot. I watched that just wonderful, pleasant, feel good Mickey Knuckles match that we talked about earlier. That I was going to spend time watching like Lucha Memes and working on some February stuff. But I watched that instead and don't regret it at all. I did finish the February 1st Zona show, which I watched like the first match a couple weeks ago, and finally finished. Really great brawl between Los Diabolicos and Drago with an X and Osiris. Best match on the show by a decent margin, but I am a sucker for anything with Mr. Condor in it. One of the best in the world, regardless of whether like no caveats on just best 66-year-old man who bleeds a lot in the world. No, he's just one of the best in the world. I love that man. And fun little Copa Copa match that had a bunch of fun Zona regulars like Lunatic Fly and Dement Extreme and Venganza. Nothing really worth going out of your way to see on the show, but the show itself was just fun top to bottom like a Zona show usually is. But if I had to pick one match from the show, it's that Los Diabolicos tag. I'd also check out the Maquaro versus Drago Kid match I talked about like probably 4 weeks ago. Main event, I was kind of underwhelmed considering it was Arrow Boy, Crazy King, and Sick Boy, who are all wrestlers I dearly love. But I mean, it's still fun. It's like a three-star little three-way death match. Can't go wrong with that. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I just stare at Google Drive documents and Google Drive spreadsheets and type things in.
I need to. I forgot. I
Don't
forgot
sell
this during the
yourself
week.
short. You've also been making amazing graphics.
Oh yes,
Oh my God, you have a
Talk about your
gift.
graphic design.
Yes, I do make all of those graphics that are on the VP 100 countdown posts. Those do take a lot of time and effort, and I'm glad that is being noticed.
When I found out we weren't paying for those, I was like, first off, like, where's the budget? I didn't know we had a graphic designer. I was blown away. But I have a clip I need to send to you. Damus is posting on his Facebook a clip from this match that has Lunatic Extreme, and he's throwing them. They're outdoors and like at like a festival, and he's throwing them face first in someone's like front door.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's a new match that's happened somewhere, or maybe that's an old match that's like I've never seen or is not in my memory. And I forgot. I was like, I gotta send that to Chris, but I haven't done it yet because you were the man I feel like could tell me. All right, Parm, special guest. Since you've never been on, I guess you can talk about any wrestling you've watched recently, or
You know, I this is the 1 week I fall a bit behind, so I watched a little random grab bag. I watched the CML Woman Cybernetico from I think it was a Tuesday show, which was like the best CML women's match in months and months and months. It was fucking amazing. It went a half hour, it was an incredibly well paced Cybernetico, and I'm just thinking, yeah, of course the best CML women's match happens on the fucking C show for CML, of all places, but that was delightful. I watched Dusk Pro Superstars Jackie Lee take on future Dusk Pro Superstar Epidemius Jr. in Texas. And it was a very fun, like, flyer versus great base match, but also the audio was really, really bad in classic indie wrestling fashion. So mileage may vary there. I also went back and watched a little bit of Darian Bankston, just in general, just to hype myself up for him versus Nicole match, which whenever we preview that. And finally, I just watched a random grab bag of AEW because they had some sort of like big show recently called Dynasty.
I was cracking up. Not a single one of us watched it apparently.
Oh, I did watch a couple matches from that.
Oh, okay.
Forgot to mention that. I got
I-
excited to talk about Mr. Condor.
Understandable. I gotta watch more Mr. Condor in general. Lucha Libre is mostly where my heart is, but I always have trouble making time for it recently. Though I'm very excited for that next Lucha Memes show. That looks like the best show they've had in a long time on paper.
Oh, that card is ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, like Hechicero versus Solar, Negro Navarro versus Shelwa, Gaius and Argus tag. Like so much stuff. I can't even name. They've like 9 matches and all of them look like stuff I want to watch.
Oh yeah. Deimos, Stigma, Flystar Virus, the Negro Navarro match, Solar, Hechicero. Yeah, that show is loaded. That is April 12th.
His biggest part of not Mania week, clearly.
So, anything noteworthy AEW wise?
Kyle Fletcher, kind of nice with it. Tony
Alright.
Storm, Mariah May, quite good. I really enjoyed the psychology with Tony Storm's roll-up finishers. Now, though, my expectations are comically high for them because, like, as deranged as the sentence might be, I genuinely think Mariah or Megan Bain, Tony Storm has potential to be like an Umaga Cena level thing, you know?
No, I do
All
think
right,
that
that
is
was definitely
crazy.
a deranged comparison. I
Yeah.
apologize. But no, I do genuinely
So-
love it. I'm a big fan of the Tony Storm character. I've been very impressed by how well they've stuck the landing with like Megan Bain's debut. This has just been a very well stacked like monster versus like the valiant underdog hero sort of deal. Like the best Cena matches have for me, you know.
The
Plus
thing
also
is,
Tony
you
Storm
said
bleeding. Oh, sorry, say your thing.
no. You said it could be a Cena Umaga match. I feel like, despite their gimmicks and their presentation, it would feel much more natural and probably come off better if it was a Cena Umaga match, but with Tony Storm as Umaga.
That you know
I
what? I
feel
can
like
see Tony pulling that
Megan
off.
Bain is like a John Cena in the making.
You know what? Megan Bain is comically young, so we'll see. I've only ever seen Megan work heel, I realize, but she probably could pull it off for sure.
All right. I think that is going to get us to our big top. Wait, I lied. First, what's going on the site? And actually, kind of a lot right now. Chris, you're running this little thing called the VP 100 2024.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
So this week is finishing off the honorable mentions.
I'm getting
On f-
angrier and angrier every day of them.
Same.
Seeing, all of us on the podcast are like watching. It's like, oh, okay, we just pissed away our ballots.
Yeah, there were people in the Discord saying they haven't had anyone for their ballot come up, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's like, what? Yeah, okay, because you voted for like Sami Zayn and Gunther. Great job.
Chris's whole ballot's gone.
Yeah, nobody respects IWG undercarders like I do. It's messed up.
So many of those guys that I see you as the high voter, I go, I almost thought about him, but I didn't. I almost thought about him, but I didn't. And which is, I feel like my basic vibe on IWRG, where it's like, I almost like it, but I don't.
I feel like with the stuff that Chris is top voter on, I can see people being like, oh, I almost voted for Mr. Condor, but I didn't. And then they look at mine and they're like, yeah, I never once considered voting for that person.
I will say that the way the site works, I guess I'm shit talking our site a little bit. At one point, I like the related tab, which makes sense, will throw up the honorable mentions from 2023. So I thought I was going back to, the fourth honorable mention of this year. And I was really like thrown. It's like, this doesn't make any sense. That's just me being an idiot. I also posted a WrestleMania weekend streaming schedule, which took an absurd amount of work because apparently nothing streaming live really, and the stuff that is, they don't want you to know about it. But basically, it's Thriller TV is like 70% of it, and then a few things on High Spots, a few things on YouTube. But check that
I
out.
was actually gonna ask Parm about that because I noticed that Triller has a team. Like Triller has their guys for, doing the broadcast. And all the IWTV ones seemed conspicuously absent. And I just wanted to ask Parm, we can get into it later, but I was curious as to like the logistics of streaming a show in Vegas versus streaming a show in like Sauget, Illinois. If it's more expensive, if there are union requirements, something.
Not
But we can talk
really,
about that
because
later.
I mean, I'm assuming because I don't know whatever mystical city in America you name drop there, and I'm going off Vancouver and not Vegas. But
Right.
generally speaking, the actual live stream part of a show is not on the venue. Like, it's typically like tech stuff like lighting, sound cues, all that. That's typically like union requirement stuff. Videography for your show is generally on y'all, or like not y'all, but like on like the promotion. I think it's just that GCW are running so much that like they have their whole crew there all ready for trailer. Like I've talked to a few of them and they're
Yeah,
like, "Hey, I love to be at your show or like help out, but like I'm pretty booked up with the collective," which is completely valid. And there's a lot of
pretty,
videographers in general. Like we have
I'm pretty sure
roomy
the
studios
AV guys are employed by Triller for the
that makes
like.
sense.
I think don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that like the on air, not the on air, but the what am I thinking of, like the crew in terms
That
of
would make
filming and
sense.
stuff. I think those guys get a check from Triller, not from Brett.
That would make sense. And either way, like as long as they got paid and whatnot, and they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of videographers in Vegas in general. I haven't really looked into what it would be like to live stream at the venue because in general, uh, it's already like a lot to like live stream logistically in terms of like cost. Like live streaming can go up to like the four figures in terms of like all the logistical costs for the start. And I'm sure for one to in Vegas, someone would already have this app, so it would be a lot cheaper theoretically. But also, man, I do not like having to do commentary, like wrestling commentary either. And I feel that's kind of needed for like live stream stuff.
Mm.
Plus, like, I don't want to like overdo it because I don't think that specific venue's done live stream shows before. At least the one I'm running. So it's like I'll play it safe and I'll just drop a VOD. And who knows? Maybe it'll be like a Chris Hero situation where that one Chris Hero West Coast Pro show gets more buzz because it aired after Mania Week than anything that actually happened during Mania Week.
Yeah, that's a real thing that can happen, like getting lost. Yeah, so check that out. I today posted Boxcars, Bullets, and Boxing Gloves. It's a story about Stanley Ketchel, turn of the 20th century boxer. He kind of discovered him by accident and just kept learning more and more about him. So I put together a quick post about him. And I think that's what's going on. If you're listening to this at a weird time, like right when it posts, you should go to bed. But if you're listening to this on Thursday, Chris's part 7 of honorable mentions will be up. I think that pretty covers what's
And it's
going on
got
with
the
the
best
site.
banner yet. It's
Oh,
got
it's a pretty good one.
You will love the banner for honorable mentions, part 7.
So now, this time for real, the big top, Dusk Pro, Fields of Hope and Dream. Parm, I don't know if you had a specific way you wanted to go through this. You want to go match by match, or
I was thinking match by match.
yeah, that sounds good to me. I mean, we're starting with Ashton Starr versus Izzy McQueen.
Alrighty, so this is a full disclosure here. And I feel bad this is going to be how I'm starting the podcast on my card, which I put a lot of effort into and I think looks really good. This is absolutely a Parm's Friends are booked sort of match, but Izzy McQueen's a local. She's Thine Goblin King. She is a local journeywoman of the Pacific Northwest. She's worked all over the place without a cause, 3-1 battle, SOS, Dusk Pro, of course. Someone who means a lot to me. She's in my personal life. She's helped me a lot with a lot of mental health, always been there for me. I'm super excited to have her there. Ashton Starr on the opposite end. I'm not as close with, but he has a fat ass, so very respectable. He's wrestled for AEW Dark a few times. He's been a stalwart for Action back in the day. Wrestled on Folkwear. He does great fucking suplexes. He has like the sickest Northern Light suplex this side of Alicia Fox. So it's the sort of match that like I don't think it's gonna like steal the weekend or steal the show, but will be like a very solid like little change of pace, nice breezy mid card match.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I haven't watched a ton of either of them, but I know that Izzy McQueen. Did she work for ECCW too back in the day?
Yes, she
Yeah.
has.
Okay. All right. Okay. I know.
He
I know.
has.
I've seen.
Oh, Actually, I was gonna say this is probably an evergreen statement with half the card, but if you want some Izzy McQueen Rex, her match at Boom Pro Wrestling versus Nicole Matthews is a really good one to go watch if you want some like Izzy stuff. And for Ashton, he's kind of those guys who are just solidly watchable. So I'd say you can watch a little bit of everything. But he has like what is probably the best Shaza match I've seen at Action, like a year or two ago. So I'd say like check that out for like a vibe with Ashton would be one of his Action matches.
Yeah, it does feel really unfair to be like they had a good match with Nicole Matthews.
Yeah, no, it's an unfortunate statement. Nicole Matthews had a good match with like me of all people. Like she can do it with anyone.
Okay, and the next match is a rematch, I believe. The Flaming Aces of Spencer Scott and Zay Perez versus the Rogues, Casey Ferreira and Elliot Tyler.
Very recent rematch because they've wrestled for the first time in a tag setting last week. While placed at 365 Pro Wrestling. This is a little PNW showcase. Zay Perez, gay icon of the Pacific Northwest. Spencer Scott, just off the entry shot, but like very much like the star student of the men's side of Oregon Pro Wrestling. Casey Ferreira is the young future prospect of the Pacific Northwest. Loves doing an acai moonsault. Very young, very athletic. Still
Had a
finding
good
his portal.
had a good
Oh,
match
sorry.
with Nicole Matthews.
True. One of his first ever matches also against Nicole Matthews, also pretty good. Elliot Tyler, a kingpin of good match with Nicole Matthews. Actually, the very first Dust show had Elliot Tyler have a good match with Nicole Matthews on it. He's a Dust Pro OG, ECCW OG, All Star Wrestling OG, just only a year older than me, but very much a veteran talent at the Pacific Northwest. These are four men who know each other incredibly well. It's the sort of thing where just like tag team wrestling fundamentals are the name of the game here, and I'm very excited to see what all four of them cook up, especially because this is like the first ever Mania week for all of them. So I imagine they're very excited, very pumped to show what they can do. And I feel it'll be a good, just having good old tag wrestling will be very good, as the Aces are children of the Midnight Heat down in Oregon, and the Rogues, well, still fairly new. Tyler and Casey are like pure, like, I was going to say white meat baby faces, but Casey isn't white, but they are meat baby faces. So I'm just excited for that tag. It'll be similar to Ashley, just like a rock solid thing to add some good tag wrestling to a solid card.
Casey and Evan Rivers, another wrestlers on the card, they have a few matches together, series of matches together that are really good.
Yeah, best of three that culminates in a Lance Storm as the referee for the final match at Boom Pro Wrestling.
So I guess this is for the Pacific Northwest. This is probably one of the more accessible WrestleManias in a while, which is why so many of these people are first timers to the weekend.
It really is.
Okay. And next match, this one is a little. I don't know how it came about. Brick Savage and Epidemus Jr. versus the Las Vegas murder scene, Alice Blair and Lazarus.
All right, you know what? Fuck, I'm just gonna expose the business a little bit. When Shooting Star Fest was first announced, I thought it'd be much more of a collaboration deal. And there is the one collaboration show, We Are Not Alone, which we can definitely talk about later. But at that point, I was like, I should get some Texas talent, some Vegas talent on the show. I was like, okay, who are the Vegas tag teams? So there's some good talents like Bryn Thorne and Tyler Bateman, who are not actually Vegas, Mariachi Montana, Las Vegas Murder Scene, etc. I was like, you know what? I feel like Las Vegas Murder Scene are probably the more well-known locals there, so I want to go with them. And then the issue became, as it turns out, half of Texas is already booked in that specific time slot, as it turns out. So I reached out to Brick Savage first, and then it became a who do I book, who do I book, who do I book? And then I remembered Epidemius, the first people to reach out to me. I was like, just in general, as far as wrestlers go for the weekend, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's just throw them up. So I don't fully know what this match looks like, but it is technically power wrestler and like more agile smaller person versus power wrestler and more agile smaller person. So I'm just very curious. I'm excited to see how Brick and Lazarus match up. Been very impressed by Alice Blair recently. She's really stepped up her game in the past like few months. I really enjoyed her versus what the fuck is her name? Gypsy Mac in a cage match, and maybe just because Blair got like a sick blade job. I'm excited for that. Epidemia's powerbombed the shit out of my friend Jackie Lee, so I'm excited for that. So like, I don't know what this tag match looks like, but I'm pretty excited about it. And then also Priceline announced or New Texas announced they're doing Vegas versus Texas on their show also. So funny coincidences all around.
No, that's funny. For fans of the show, Alice Blair recently on JCW Lunacy. So you know.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, she wrestled. I mean, they were in Vegas. I'm pretty sure she wrestled Mickey and someone else. I should have that, but I don't.
Yeah.
The
We
next
do need to,
match.
we do need to, as a group, catch up on our JCW Lunacy viewing now that the episodes are not like 2 hours long.
I mean, you know, I'm always game for some JCW talk. The next match, I can't imagine how it got booked. It's crazy. Arez versus Parm. How does that come about?
So this is my Dusk Pro debut. I'm pulling up with the classic card of, it's been 10 shows now of Dusk Pro. I've never been booked, so I'm flashing all that goodwill for also someone really fucking cool in Erez. Part of it is just like I was trying to brainstorm, figuring out like potential opponents. So I was like, okay, who has like a cool style? Who is like quote unquote like the best technical wrestlers around? Who could quote unquote be like super creative? I was like, factually speaking, Erez is like one of the best wrestlers in the world. I feel like genuinely.
Absolutely.
I feel it's forgotten how good he is in a single setting because like he's been doing a lot of La Malafama work for like years now. And Jenny wanted to go to like indie guys when you need like a sick trios match in like the US scene, which is completely valid. He's great at that. But he is one of like his whole moniker is screenshot, so it's obvious, but he's just one of the more uniquely moving, talented, like fluid wrestlers. That in general, it's one of those things where not to say this would like make or break my career, but also factually speaking, if I'm looking for like an easy thing to like show promoters, like there's really no excuse for me not trying to show up and show and keep up with the best in the world. Like journeyman for over 10 years, does fucking death matches against Penta in his early career. Fucking is the rival of Aramis / the current hologram for like 5 years. One of the best trios workers. Currently just had like what was apparently great matches with Flamita and Gresham super recently. And it's like I think the Lucha on Mania Week this year is really good, but I wish there was more like general single stuff for Lucha Libre. So I'm kind of glad that this card is like giving a few more singles matches. Even if Ares has to carry a bum in Parm Singh Man, who will happily show up for the Man of 100 roll-ups moniker and try and roll him up, especially when his other two bookings this weekend are a submission match and a Rumble gimmick. So
This is
Kevin
your only
will,
chance. Yeah.
yeah.
So my,
Um.
my question is, how many steps do you think he'll be able to get in when he runs on your back? I think he
At
usually
least
hits like 7.
I was gonna say 3 is an easy one for him. My back goes down pretty low, so I could genuinely see double digits. So I'm a pretty flexible guy. If you look at my promo picture, he's a Parm Singh Man wrestler. I'm doing that like backwards hand prayer pose gimmick, which makes more sense when you see it visually. It's like I could go down low. I will try
So,
not to let him
folks,
do it, but like he could get double digits if I'm like he catches me tripping.
if you want to see Arez go for the record, you have to get this VOD when it drops.
It will probably drop pretty quick on like the Monday or so, most
Oh,
likely.
that's exciting. No, I completely support Arez getting bookings that are against people that he doesn't wrestle a million times. Like, I don't know, like
That's the
if
other thing. Like I get it, but like actually, to be fair, recently I feel Aries has been like getting some lot of like different bookings. Like he wrestled for like one of the GCW belts pretty recently. I feel in like a single setting.
oh, all right. I
But
don't
no,
have
I
a
do know.
GCW guy tell me that.
Yeah, I'm somehow a GCW guy recently because they keep booking my friends in the West Coast too. So I gotta watch him.
But yeah, it's like Arez and Aramis and Gringo Loco and Morto. It's just like I like all those guys. I would like them not in scrambles or 6-man tags against each other repeatedly, which it seems like for a long time that was all US promoters knew to do with lucha guys, throw them all together.
It still kind of is to an
Yeah.
extent, unfortunately.
I'm not
How much of
holding it
that is the
against you,
length
but I
of it?
was hoping for Arez versus Nicole Matthews. So
I
that's
was
like the
gonna say,
bar you have to.
Aries is the one wrestler on this show where I got multiple posts or questions like, "Who's he wrestling? Who's he wrestling?" Like fantasy hopeful book, and I'm like, I have bad news for everyone. I'm sorry. It is what it is. It is what it is. I'm taking my shot.
No, I love it. The
Yeah,
next
I
match,
respect the hell of that. That's what it's
yeah, and
all
like you said,
about.
you've not been on Dusk Pro, which
Yes, I'm cashing in all the goodwill now.
you honestly should probably have a world title, at least the world title, if not like another tag belt or something around your waist, if you're like most people.
Yeah, the Sun and Moon tag belts on Parm Singh Man would be sick, but that's a whole other thing.
Our next match is Robert Martyr versus Andrew Delgado.
All right, before I do anything else, how familiar are y'all with Andrew Delgado?
I don't know if I've ever seen him wrestle.
Yeah, I am very familiar with Robert Martyr, not at all with Andrew Delgado.
That checks out. I will say this right now. Robert Martyr made a post saying this. It feels like he's facing an alternate version of a younger version of himself. And to an extent, that's true. Delgado is a very violent man. He's pretty tall, much taller than like even Mir. Like he's like 6+ feet, but he hits hard in that sort of Finlay Regal Bruiser style. He's Vegas homegrown. He was Jacob Austin Young's tag partner before Jacob Austin Young joined United Empire. He's recently coming back from like a year plus like horrible little bone fracture injury. And he's someone I do personally know, so I wanted to give him something. Because like I said, Mania Week is in Vegas. This is like one of the Vegas homegrown. He's like super young, super hardworking. And I was like, hey, who the fuck do you want to fight? He was like, shit, I think Robert Myers is a really violent man. So I reached out to Martyr and like my platonic ideal for this match is that I don't know it goes 7 minutes. One of the men gets horribly knocked out and has the vibes of like that Finlay Regal parking lot brawl. It just two dudes just doing unnecessarily stiff shots for a few minutes till one of them goes down. That's like what I'm hoping this match ends up looking like.
You're doing a good job selling it.
Like genuinely, Delgado's like it's weirder for like the other two because like Ashton Izzy, the Rogues Aces, I feel it's really good, but like I've seen all of them like wrestle so often recently. That's like I do think you all should watch it. But it's also one of those things where like I know what to expect from this. Parm vs. Aries, it's like I don't want to oversell it just because like it feels vain to me. Even though I would love to like man of 100 roles for a strange thought to figure out like who can like outmaneuver who. But this is like the first matchup here where I'm like, fuck man. This is the sort of thing where like my vision for the show is that stuff slowly escalates and violent throughout the night. And I feel this could be like a real switch flip for when we go from like wrestling to oh my god, people are gonna fucking kill each other.
Yeah, that is exciting. How is this Andrew Delgado versus Parm match from Pride Style 17?
So fun fact, I wasn't told it was a submission match until the bell rang.
Oh, that's very funny.
It's very funny. I made the mistake. I was driving up with my boy Sonico, but Sonico loves coming to shows late, so I was told this very delayed. Uh, it's honestly not my best work. I was a little rusty at the time. As you can tell, because Delgado chokes the fucking shit out of me by the end. It's a perfectly watchable few minutes. If you want Delgado specifically, I'd recommend his matches with Jacob Austin Young specifically, because they also feuded for a bit.
Yeah,
But
there's a knockout or submission match from Pride Style 19, but I just thought it was very funny when I googled it. The first recommendation for me was against you.
Parm Singh Man, yes. Yeah, it was the whole gimmick of that. He was like the annoying young guy who kept doing quote unquote open challenges because he was convinced he could beat the shit out of anyone. And then finally, the culmination was Jacob Austin Young, his then tag partner, now former, I guess, in that scenario, being like, fuck you, I could beat the shit out of you. And then them just having a slugfest. Price Style, man, they book good stuff. They book good storylines. I'm excited. We'll talk more later when we do General Mania Week thoughts, but like, I'm pretty excited for their own show coming up with that the next day.
Okay. The next match is someone that I just discovered through Pride Style, Richie Coy versus Liza Hall.
Question: was it the Brett the Threat match or was it a different match?
It was a Brett the Threat match. I thought that was amazing.
It was fucking delightful, man.
Yeah.
So good. It was like so good that like I DM'd Brett the Thread being like, hey, I'm a complete stranger. You fucking rock. That match ruled. Sort of deal. He was quite flattered, thankfully. This match is something I'm very excited for on paper. While the duality of like Mario Delgado is much more of like a slugfest, Richie Liza is the sort of thing where it's like, who can outmaneuver who? Like, what wins between like a gender fluid person who loves to go for like crazy laves and like World of Sports like fluid sequences in order to get into them versus like Nicole Matthews' daughter and that she loves going for like arm drag, armed bar submissions, like just really targeting them and breaking them. And it's like it's a real stylistically gel well, but are so different in a lot of their approaches to that style. And this is just a very like appealing matchup. For those unfamiliar with Liza Hall, like pulling the PNW cheat sheet, pretty much any match versus Nicole Matthews, and there's like 20 of them for her you can find online are worth watching. But like he recently had a really fun match with Johnny Robbie also. And I was gonna say she's been on Dusk Pro. She has been. And she has said some very fun stuff with like Zoe Sagar, but and Richie Quay, you've already mentioned, he's been like delightful versus Brett the Thread. He and Damien Desires are a tag team couple platonic romance. He's the full career champion, so a lot of stuff to watch for him online, but this is like one of the most appealing matches to possibly book. And you know, Richie was kind of a sub for what was like an original opponent for Liza, was a similar level of like US mid carder, but like when this opened up, I got so excited because this is going to be such a delightful little bit of chaining. That's either going to end with a very fun little grappling exchange in the roll up, or it's going to end with Liza trying to break Richie's arm. And either way, I'm quite excited to see where direction it goes.
Liza also has the Makabe matches. That
Oh right, yeah, the full like a full on feud there. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
quite good.
I am known as not being the biggest fan of women's wrestling on this podcast, but I guess
That's
most
like
of them are in the
half the people, man. It's understandable. Don't worry. I'm used to it with y'all.
but Pacific Northwest, I guess, is where most of the ones that I do and the wrestlers I do enjoy there. Because I said Liza Hall, I feel like she's been, which I guess she's only 27. It feels like she's been, ready to break up to the next level for years.
She's gotten a lot of opportunities, which like also all deserved, just to be clear.
Yeah.
But like she's like pretty fairly. I don't want to say regular and like Procedure Defy or something because she's not. But like she's gotten like enough appearances there. She's been flown out a few times. Like people know who she is, and she's only gonna get her resume bigger and bigger over the years.
That's fair. And there is the cap of what is the quote unquote next level if you're a woman on the US indie scene. Like the
answer
there's
is
just
Dusk Pro Wrestling, baby.
I guess that's the answer. There we go. Now that brings you to a really big singles match. El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. versus Evan Rivers.
Alrighty.
Triple A
First and
superstar.
foremost, how big do I gotta sell Evan Rivers here? Because I imagine this might be a lot of uninitiated people, unfortunately.
I mean, sell him.
Alrighty. Evan Rivers, the North Star of Polaris, the Prince of Polaris himself, has been wrestling maybe the least amount of time of everyone on this show. About as long as Brick Savage, actually. Untrue because Amir is wrestling on it. Damn it, I've already filled my pitch. Rivers is, to be blunt, whenever I go from the Dust Pro cut to recommend a wrestler to other places, he is one of, if not the very first person I always name. He's one of the most professional, charismatic, and talented men I've met in wrestling. And above all else, he also just kicks ass. He does a little bit of every style. I've seen him bust out laves. I've seen him be like a piece of shit heel. I've seen him be like a beloved babyface ace. Him versus Nicole Matthews recently on Dusk Pro Wrestling, Catch as Thatch Can on YouTube was delightful. He was like the main champ for Boom Pro Wrestling for a while. He's a regular Undefined Prestige. He recently wrestled Los Desperados, Ares, Gringo Loco, and I think Latigo? Like a TLC match with Sinner and Saint. He's the and in Sinner and Saint. He is, to be blunt, one of the best in the Pacific Northwest. And a man where if you just searched him up on YouTube, I feel any match of his is going to be a great match. And El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. is, of course, one of the coolest Mexican luchadors going today. Coolest look, super charismatic. I learned speaks fluent English because I kept awkwardly trying to Google Translate talk to him, and they went, haha, dude, I speak English fluently. You're good. And this is one of those matches where I'm so curious, just like, there's going to be like high flying and basing and whatnot. But I'm curious, just like on the scale of, say, RVD, Jerry Lynn to like, I guess, I don't know, Osprey Ricochet. What's like style? How will they try and outpace each other? How will they approach this? Will Rivers try and like stop and like slow the match down with some technical stuff? Will Wagner 3G throws some bombs for a deal. This is the sort of match where it's like Rivers is a super successful talented man. He's faced men like Brian Keith before, Eris himself, etc. But like theoretically, this is the biggest match of his career because like he's wrestled in Japan before. This is a former no global GHC heavyweight champion, and somehow I feel this is the only singles match for Wagner 3G this Mania week, even though he's had like 9 Mania week bookings, which is crazy to me. But like this is just one of those things where it's definitely one of the biggest matches on the card. And definitely very huge for Rivers, and I'm hopeful that he shows out. And who knows, maybe he'll even fucking win. Maybe he won't because it's El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., but who knows? No?
You mentioned the Evan Rivers Nicole Matthews match. That match and the Travis Williams Thatcher match. I remember hating how good they were because I was like, this guy's about to be on the show. It feels like I'm shilling for him. Like,
It is, but also you should be chilling for me. Put your guests over.
but like those like back to back, that's a crazy back to back matches people got to see. I mean,
It is. I'll upload the rest of the other match from that show I really like, which was the Dusk Pro Heavyweight title match eventually. I was just in a car wreck, so I've been using it as an excuse to procrastinate all my other work.
we love excuses here.
I do. I do love.
And then next, we've mentioned her quite a few times. Nicole Matthews versus Darian Bankston.
So not to bring up the legacy of Dusk Pro Wrestling, but we kind of got the reputation early on of being the Daniel Maccabi versus Woman Fed, because that's just what we kept on running for like our first 4 shows somehow. And it was just pretty poetic because this is one of Daniel Maccabi's biggest rivals, where a lot of it culminated in Dusk Pro itself, taking on Daniel Maccabi's protege, Darian Bankston. And this was also a fairly last minute matchup because originally it was going to be Nicole versus Amira, but then plans changed and Amira got her match moved up. So we won Darian, and you know what? Darian is beyond being like one of the most talented up and coming wrestlers, one of the coolest looking guys, super fluid. His catch flow, he calls it. He's also one of like the best promos on the indies. He really does feel like a complete package. Now see Nicole Matthews, she's the girl who can make like anyone look amazing. So I'm just really curious about like how this match goes, who wins between like the young up and comer versus like the talented old vet, older vet. Nicole, please don't kill me for calling you old, please, please. And I'm also kind of curious how the crowd takes to this, because like Nicole's a pretty mean grappler, like Dara's pretty charismatic, but you know the intergender dynamic inherently, I feel people tend to favor the woman for obvious reasons. I'm curious how the crowd takes to this match too.
That's fair. Bankston to me is someone who is way more. I guess I'm just not as high as you are on them, but I'm just gonna say he's opponent dependent. But this is about as good an opponent as you can get, so I'm looking forward to this one. And then this is the main event. Maybe the match I mean, I gotta think the match I'm most looking forward to all Mania weekend. Nothing else popping up in my head. Mad Dog Connolly versus Amir in a dog collar match.
All right, before we get into this, we'll just go into what was some of the other potential options for Mad Dog. The original plan was the Dust Pro Heavyweight Champion Sebastian Wolf taking on Mad Dog Conley, and what like basically would have been 2 big guys throwing down. I don't know, like Josh Bishop, Dominic Green sort of scenario. Then like stuff happens, plan change, and Wolf can no longer make it. Then became a who the fuck could we possibly book? And I made like a little list. Masha Stamovich at TNA, so she couldn't make it. Cyclone had his own like logistical issues, so he couldn't make it. I made listed a bunch of other random wrestlers that could have potentially done it. But then like 5 different locals went up to me and was like, Parm, please book a mirror, please book a mirror, please book a mirror for the match. Apparently this is like her quote unquote dream match. And you know what? Fuck it. If everyone local should probably be the ideal person. She has like that Ricky Steamboat quality to her. She's such a pure baby face. She has that nitty gritty, like never say die attitude. So House on Fire. I feel that will pair up really well with Mad Dog Conley, who is like, to violent people radio, do I need to sell who Mad Dog Conley is?
I can't imagine someone listening this far in the show and not being very familiar with Mad Dog.
Exactly. He's one of the best wrestlers on the U.S. independents. He is one of the most violent men on the U.S. independents. He's managed to do something amazing in that he has a signature match. How many U.S. indie wrestlers have a quote unquote signature match? Like, I don't mean like, oh, they have a formula, like a straight up gimmick. where it's the whole thing is they travel to territory, just beating the shit out of people. Like he's a fucking young Terry Funk. And this is one of those things where it's like, in the fields of hopes and dreams, a little squirrel takes on a mad dog, and one of their hopes and dreams are going to be shattered, but the others are going to be fulfilled. And I'm just so very excited to see how this looks. And you know what? Hopefully tickets still start moving because I want to say Mad Dog Conley's a draw after Dean. And thankfully, originally we're the only place to book him, but as of yesterday, somewhere which I'm not sure of as a book Mad Dog Conley for what seems to be some sort of mystery spot or unannounced match. But yeah, so far we were the only two places you can see Mad Dog Conley at WrestleMania week.
Which is insane.
Very surprising to me. I've tried to
Quite
talk to
frankly,
other
ridiculous.
I've tried to talk to like other promotions about potentially booking him and whatnot. Like obviously he's reached out, but I don't know. No one's biting for some reason this year. Crazy.
Yeah, I was trying to go back and find where I was talking to Tim about who I hoped Mad Dog faced in your show, and I know, like I said, Mira was like the first words out of my mouth, I'm pretty sure. And then my other suggestion was Colby Carino, who I don't know his book at all.
Vegas,
What's that?
Is Colby even in Vegas though? He's East Coast, so I could see
That's
him
what I
in
was
the
gonna say.
States.
I don't see him on any of the shows, so he might not even be in town.
I had
That was
pitched.
say your thing.
I had pitched to Tim the idea of Kaplan, and you could say Kaplan, and then I like was also just like, or just any other like 400-pound guy wearing a dog collar, just for the spectacle of like the smaller Mad Dog. He can't yank the dog collar and pull the guy off his feet, like that kind of big guy little guy stuff. And I still think
Sebastian
that
Wolf would have been perfect for that. He's only 250 pounds, but he is a very chiseled giant man. So it would have been
yeah,
perfect for that dog, but alas.
I think there's money for a promoter somewhere in doing not just the dog collar match, but the dog collar match involving a big fat death match guy like Tank or something.
I'm trying to
Just
think.
because
I'm guessing Kaplan.
as a
I know he's
visual,
worked. I mean, Kaplan's worked Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, Pennsylvania. I gotta imagine that might be it.
he was in Massachusetts. I saw him
Oh,
at
he
the
was on the
ICW show.
ICW show. Yep, you're right.
He was after the show. He was like right by the bar selling jerky.
But he is not. I guess he's not a man that makes a lot of towns.
That could change if he did a successful dog collar match. I don't know, Kaplan, if you're listening.
All right. So yeah, I mean, Pat or Chris, you guys have any thoughts or questions on the Dusk Pro show?
I did think it was funny that Tim was like, any ideas. Also, I already pitched Tara Zepp. I was like, well,
no.
there goes my first idea.
The first time actually pitched was he kept pitching Royce Isaacs to me, which I'm sure will be an amazing match. It just by that point it's like I feel I'm gonna go with Amira. Unless it's someone I immediately slam dunk think of,
No, I think you landed on the right choice. If so, you said you want the VOD to go up pretty soon after.
It'll go up pretty soon after, along with the fucking rest of the February show. I just fell behind due to horrible traumatic injury. So if anyone ever criticizes me, they're a bad person scenario.
That makes the Arez match even more inspiring.
That's true. That's
Wait,
true.
guys,
Although
it just came to me. Mad Dog Connolly versus Sexy Eddie, and he does the naked moonsault while wearing the dog collar, like on his junk.
that should happen in Canada. That's
But
that's a Canadian icon there, Sexy Eddie.
Dan, if you want to bleep this out so that Parm can use it and make $1 million and have it be a surprise to everyone.
Oh,
anyway, I'm sorry.
The
I'm
Sexy
sorry.
Eddie match. I'm sorry. I thought you had $1 million. I was waiting for the $1 million idea. I didn't realize.
No. It's $1 million Canadian, so it's less in America. Well, for
like
now,
5 American, unfortunately.
I gotta be honest.
Again, for now.
You tell me I have
the
to book.
Canadian dollar drops with the American dollar. It's a very annoying scenario we have.
Well, yeah, our bad.
If I have to book a dog collar match with a Mad Dog against a old school Canadian wrestler, I'm going Green Phantom all day.
That's a
You're gonna
classic.
get a lot. You're gonna get
I-
maybe not a lot less, but slightly less nudity there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when the VOD goes up, where can people find the VOD to purchase it?
For free onto YouTube because
Oh,
even though this is the first time people have asked to like pay for a wrestling show, I'm pretty sure more people have asked to pay for a VOD for this show than bought tickets somehow. Because Mania Week be funny like that. And I generally believe that wrestling should be affordable. Like tickets are fucking $10 for this show. You should go buy a ticket for this show, even if you're not in Vegas or a deal. So I've even like back in Canada, like tickets are generally just like 20-25 for a Dusk Pro show. Because like I get it, shit's expensive. You have to spend an entire night of your life going to a place, and like I think, and I mean this statement lovingly, wrestling is a poverty sport, and that is the sort of thing like anyone of any walk of life can enjoy. Because no matter what, the universal thing is, people love seeing people in cool costumes being the ever loving shit out of each other. You know.
Ain't
Oh,
that
So
the
yeah,
truth?
it will be
Yeah.
free. It will be free on YouTube. And you
I
know what?
love
Maybe
that.
I'll make a donation page or something if people really
I
really
was
feel
gonna
like
say, is there a Ko-fi or anything like that for people who were like,
because
I
we're
really
just
enjoyed.
now
Let me throw $5.
just because last year we only did well, we did 4 shows last year. This is the year where I want to do more and more because like we've run 2 shows already. I took March off because of like this, and then like next week is also going to be nothing. And we plan like more and more again, starting from like summer onwards. So maybe this will be the year. Year 3 will be where I like, actually do it now that we're in double digit amount of shows. I just feel weird asking for money without anything in return.
Alright, well, I don't.
Well, it's
If you're listening to
entertainment.
this and you're gonna
Go
watch
ahead.
the show, go ahead to buytickets.at/duskpro. Go ahead and buy a $10 general admission ticket if you know you're gonna watch this for free on YouTube. Go ahead and get ahead of it.
Or at the very least, turn your ad blocker off. One thing we can tell you, Parm, is if you want to make money in this thing, do not try to sell mugs to people.
It's unfortunate
know,
because the mug conceptually is great. What my coaches Nicole Matthew has had good luck in selling wine glasses. I mean, buying people wine glasses as the
There we
player.
go.
Ooh,
Now we're talking.
fancy.
We actually
Yeah.
sold more mugs than I expected. We just make so much less money off the mugs than I expected.
Oh, okay. I mean, I could see it because like you gotta like get each one like made. Like you know what I mean.
Yeah, no,
It
I
costs
remember
more to
when
make a mug
Sam
than
broke the
anything.
numbers down for me. I was like, oh man, I could just sent you that.
Brutal.
But yeah, don't worry about mugs this week. Worry about Dusk Pro. I want to know. You said you have 2 other bookings this weekend, or not this weekend, WrestleMania weekend. What do you have going on?
I'm at Pandemonium Pro Wrestling, where I am part of the Rumble gimmick for the show against names such as Koto Hiro, Richie Coy, Dexter Standout, Izzy James, etc. It's a real smodge podge of here's a bunch of cool wrestlers. Let's just have them like fuck around and get them on the show. So I get to technically say I'm on a show with Hechisero, and then right afterwards I'm on a show with Triple A guys because I'm breaking the forbidden door like that, which is very cool. But yeah, I'm super excited to like get to be in that crazy locker room because I'm not sure if you've seen the Pandemonium card, but just to
that's
plug
a
them,
wild card.
Masha Slamovich versus Mao. We got Team CML versus Team Dragon Gate. It will be better than last year's Team CML versus Dragon Gate match. They also have like I'm trying to remember. They have
It's
what is going to be
Hechicero versus Kevin
Kevin
Blackbeard, I
Blackburn,
think.
which is
Mustafa
wild.
Ali versus Ninja Black or Ninja Mac.
I forgot that was happening too. I get to be with my fellow brown icon Mustafa Ali.
Sandra Moon and Brooke Havoc versus Brittany Brooks and Ella Envy. Is that one of? Isn't Sandra Moon retiring
In July. She just announced
in
it a few days
July?
ago.
I couldn't remember when the.
It's also like that's like generally a Vegas showcase match in general. Stop being a
Yeah,
fun time. Sandra is booked the frick up this Mania week. She's also wrestling Darian at Grap House. Grap House also an amazing looking card, but I'm not booked on it, so fuck 'em. Pandemonium. What else? They
I think
have
Pandemonium. I believe it is airing live on YouTube. Does that
it
sound
is
correct?
in
Yeah.
4K definition because it's sponsored by Sony of all places. So they're providing the camera work.
That's awesome.
Very random sponsorship of all things because it's like it came together like last week or like announced last week.
Now I will say we might not get to see you on that stream because you're the pre-show battle royal, I believe.
It is being streamed.
Oh, it is.
Also,
Oh, okay. Why do we call it pre-show? I don't know. I never understood that.
I think it's just like hitting their time sort of deal, like with the
Mm.
venue. What else am I gonna say? So yeah, good job, Robert Martyr. You in hard editing and the Pandemonium one, or I don't actually know the name because they're more secretive on social media. Booked a rock solid card. And unlike me, Robert Martyr did not book himself, so more power to him.
And then what's the third show? Your third show of the week.
It's third show of the day.
Of the day.
Fortunately.
Oh God.
I'm living the dream, baby. I am wrestling at We Are Not Alone, which is the quote unquote super show Shooting Star Fest, the New Texas WrestleCore, what is it called? Uncanny Attractions, Pride Style, Dusk, Pandemonium, Grab House collab. I am wrestling what has not been announced, Richie Coy and Robert Martyr in a triple threat submission match, which I'm very excited for. Also, the whole card has kind of changed a bit because, as it turns out, and I'm going to get a little insider business here, I hope no one gets too mad at me. Doing a 7-way collab booking show is a very hectic idea, as it turns out. So a lot of stuff
Sounds
is
like a
still being
nightmare.
it's a lot of stuff still being figured out, but the show, like every ticket sold, like goes to a charity, whether it's a local Vegas charity or for mental health to prevent suicide, like suicide awareness, suicide health resources, all that jazz. There's some good looking stuff already, like a lot of like the cooler folks of New Texas are booked on it. Maya World's booked on it. Parm Singh Man's booked on it. Effie, who in the Violent People Discord, my mileage may vary, but he's wrestling Johnny Robbie. Darian Bengston defends like the Grap House belt against Fuego del Sol. I think he's defending against Sandra the next day. Goddamn. So like it's gonna be like a good card. Sandra's also booked up on it. I wish I get more of my own Dust Pro guys on it, but like I said, seven ways to book a show is too many ways. So like I chose to stand back a little bit and be like, you know what? I have a cool ass match. If I can do anything else booking wise, it'll be gravy because I would just volunteered for it. They were like, Parm, yesterday, they were like, Parm, can we just move you to this triple threat? I was like, fuck yeah, you can. I want to wrestle both those men.
Now, who is the tag team Rush Hour?
Rush Hour is Dustin Eugene and goddamn, I need to double check the name. But they are a very fun New Texas folks. They're basically two super young, super likable. I don't want to be like Midnight Express sort of guys, but like they're
I
pretty
think
much
that's
like
the best tag team name I've ever heard in my entire life.
they are fucking delightful, man. You've never seen them before. They're still very young, so they're still like I don't want to be like they're a little green or something, but like they're still growing. But they've already figured a lot of it out. Dustin's like a pretty regular guy on Prize Style of all places. They are absolutely Dustin and JJ Blake are two guys definitely worth keeping an eye out on. Because if nothing else, their vibe is exactly what you'd want a tag team called Rush Hour to be while still having like rock solid fundamentals, you know?
I was scrolling real fast, and there was a split second where I was like, they got Chris Tucker for this.
They do the promo pictures really do try and capture the vibe for sure.
The vibes are there.
Unfortunately, Chris Tucker, his tag team would be, I'm trying to think of a Rock and Roll Express, Lolita Express joke. It's
Oh,
just
is
I
Chris
started
Tucker?
talking.
Is he canceled? He do bad
He was
stuff?
he was on the plane logs for some reason.
Oh God! All right.
Oh, he's a Jerry Seinfeld. That's unfortunate.
You just
Well, we don't know.
like,
I mean, he could have just been hanging out, telling jokes, doing the Fifth Element character voice while everyone else was molesting young women.
is Jackie Chan okay?
I mean,
I
he
feel
hates
like
Santana for being a lesbian and trying to beat the shit out of her one time.
Oh my
But
God! I'm
but
deleting
on
the
the
yeah,
internet.
it's really famous. But on the bright side, you ever watch that one film, the not Street Fighter movie where they make Jackie Chan do drag?
yeah, City Fighter.
City
Yeah,
Fight.
City Hunter. Thank you, City Hunter.
Yeah, City
That
Hunter.
movie, Bong
Yeah,
Jin
City
did that
Hunter.
entire thing as an elaborate drag to, or elaborate, what the fuck is it? Elaborate gag to make fun of Jackie Chan. Just made it a very miserable filming experience for him, just because he hates Jackie Chan so much. And I think that's partly the reason why. So great video by Accident Cinema on like that movie and also Jackie Chan's real life persona. Because I don't want to be like everyone's like inherently good or bad person. You know, we have our decision. I'm sure Jackie's done a lot of good stuff, and he's done a lot of movies I really like. But also his treatment of his daughter is pretty rough. It's not great. Like fully disowned her for being a lesbian sort of deal.
Oh my god. Well, there you go. Don't like
City
anyone.
Hunter
People.
was a movie when I like years and years ago I managed a store and we had a little TV and City Hunter was a one I would play on the little TV and every single time a customer was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yes. To sell anyone on
Because
City Hunter, never seen it. There is a scene in the movie where Mario and Luigi, who only show up for the one scene, give a talk about the danger of AIDS in it.
I
Yeah,
also
I've never
remember there
seen this.
being some amazing dubbing of the white characters.
Lovely dubbing, which is a classic for like those Chinese films for when it comes to white characters. And also some incredibly bizarre, like both great special effects and so good they're bad, or so bad they're good special effects in the same film.
It's on Tubi, which I don't know. Tubi somehow became like the best of the streaming services because they have just the craziest movies, and then WWE Evolve.
Home
Tubi
of
always
Jackie Chan
has
and Brinley
been.
Reese.
We kind of recently stepped up their game. We had like none of the Sentai or like Godzilla stuff for the longest time, but we finally got it like last year. And now I'm like a big Tubi head now because Tubi kind of used to be behind the times compared to Tubi America.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best place in the world.
I will admit, I for whatever reason was like anti Tubi without ever. I'm just like I'm not a Tubi guy. It just feels ridiculous.
It gives a bad first impression for sure.
Yeah. But anywhere I can watch Timothy Thatcher and Paddington is a win.
See, that's a Mania Weekend dream match.
Oh man, I might have to book a flight if someone gets Paddington.
Oh, I mean, if anyone could afford Paddington.
All right, so well, I guess the rest of us will have next week to talk about Mania Weekend. But Parm, do you have any closing thoughts on Dusk Pro or Mania Weekend as a whole?
Sure, fuck it. I saw a lot of like doom and gloom about how this is like the WWE weekend now. And you know what? I do get it to an extent. People are like used to their own little whole like collective deal, but like if you actually go looking beyond the server just a little bit, you have a bunch of crazy Zack Sabre Jr. matches, like against Artemis Spencer, so super looking forward to. You have Grap House and Dusk, which are doing like a little, not collectible, a grab bag of the various best of the indie wrestlers you can find. You have the West Coast Pro Prestige DBW trio of stuff. DBW haven't announced their world title situation though, which is a little odd for them, but those all look great. Of course, Shooting Starfest, Dusk Pro Wrestling. Please buy tickets for the love of God, buy tickets. Please, oh please, oh please, oh please. But you have that with the we've already went over it. We've had Prize Style blowing off the biggest feud they've had in like 2 years, a 2 year long fucking indie feud, blowing up between Chris Nasty and Sonico. So we have Pandemonium, which is doing like so many different crazy stuff. We have like all these promotions getting together to raise money for like mental health awareness. We have what will be the usual still, like the Effie's Big Grade runs the spring break, which say what you want about them. They will achieve what you want. We have an all women's show, multiple happening that weekend, but one they called NTLL, which I'm super excited for, booked by a friend of mine, him Diana. We have G Sharp doing a crazy gimmick gauntlet match where he's wrestling like 29 wrestlers in a row. And then like I think minute long gimmick each match. Like there's a lot of good stuff on the indies right now. Especially compared to like a year or two ago. Where I actively do keep an eye on stuff. And a lot of it is West Coast because I'm a biased guy and then like watching the DPWs of the world. But we're doing pretty good. And I feel there's like there's a big generational split of like the people who are burnt out because they followed the indies for so long, and the indies they followed just kind of did fall off, but like they're not what they once were. And the people who are seeing all these new indies pop up are pretty happy just keeping with their local indies. And I don't know, it's just like there's a weird divide there, and to an extent, I do get it. I really genuinely get it, because there's no like a pure PWG situation here. Because DPW is much more of like not even a Ring of Honor, but like a CWF Mid Atlantic and how it's booked. But like we're doing good. And I kind of wish that like for all the doom and gloom, people who did actually like show up and actually support indie wrestling. Because like even you don't not even like pirate all the stuff you want. Who cares? Piracy is awesome. But like, at least be aware of who the people are. You know, like one of the things I liked when I was in the Vibe People Disco was just how hard certain people like vouch for their Puerto Rican wrestling scene. I've maybe lost the thread a little bit, but like, just all I'm saying is, be open about it. If you don't feel like watching the wrestling, that's valid. But there is still a lot of good stuff happening. There's still a lot of potential, and like things bloom with hopes and dreams. So please buy tickets to Dusk Pro, but it'll be a good weekend. I promise, even if it's not what people hope for.
I think part of it is people are upset at the scene's so fractured and that so much is not streaming or that stuff they wanted not streaming. But I'm like, that feels like the toothpaste is already out of the the tube. Like that's
A
just
while
media
back,
and the world in general now. Like there's Tubi, there's Netflix, there's Peacock. You know what I mean? Like there's a million indies, and you got to
Yeah.
find. I have a list. I mean, I figured we're probably gonna talk about Mania Weekend next week. We haven't discussed it, but I'm sure we are. I have a list of the matches I want to watch, just because there are so many shows. And I'm like, I have a list of just like what I should try to make sure I watch, because you can get overwhelmed with the amount of wrestling that's happening that week.
Oh, totally. I don't know. We should DM each other our list because I have my own stuff I'm pretty excited to check out from the weekend. It's kind of crazy. A lot of shows just have not announced their full card for the weekend yet, which is insane to me.
It's so soon. And then the DPW thing, if you look at like their Facebook or Twitter comments, people are like, "Hey, what's going on with the title? Hey, what's going on with the title?"
That's
And they're
how
just
I know
ignoring
about it
it.
because I saw someone post like asking about. It. I was like, oh yeah, it's a little weird. 'Cause they're normally much more on the ball about these things.
It makes me they either. I mean, I guess I'm giving too much credit. It makes me think they have something planned, because it's like
I
it's just
every
such
time this
radio
has
silence.
happened, they have had a good plans for it. To be fair, so like I understand. Like I'm also hopeful. I'm not just saying that because I would desperately love to be on a DPW show. I'll name down Nicole Matthews by reference there because she's had good matches there because she has good matches everywhere. But like, yeah. Also, one thing I forgot to mention for all the good stuff happening on Mania Weekend, shout out the Zicky Dice Produce Show, which is advertising two things. Do y'all know what those two things are to headline their show?
I do not.
A Marty Skrull
Oh!
and
Is it
also a
is it a
$500 twerk off. The
yes? I
Fat
would say it's a
Kevin
twerk off contest.
Yes, both those things. So anyone booked on that show should be ashamed of themselves. But there's some pretty prominent people booked on that show, like Top Dollar, Lindsay Dorado,
That
Daddy
show
Ryan.
claims that it's streaming on Triller. Now Triller doesn't have them on their schedule, but Fighting Evolution Wrestling, I believe, all their posters has the Triller TV logos all over, acting like they're going to be on Triller. So that's something that if you were interested in twerk offs, Marty School
Stuff
and
and Marty
Zicky
Skrull,
Dice,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so a
uh,
little shame on everyone there, but there'll be good promotions running too. There's one show I'm really curious about. Like Kid Band is doing a drag show / wrestling show. She's running. I'm really curious how that looks.
okay.
What else?
I'm like losing the plot too, because I'm here. I want to make sure I say that as much as I'm like putting my confidence in DPW, they booked Arez and Mortos versus Laredo Kid and Ray Horace.
Yeah,
I
I'll
love
watch
all those
anything
guys.
that's
I just don't want to see
produced by
that.
them.
I've seen it.
It's kind of crazy. Beast Morris has gotten like a good amount of indie bookings, but the only like non-lucha thing I've seen him booked against was when he wrestled Marcus Mathers and ETU. Shout out the homies at ETU.
All right. I think that is a pretty successful Dusk Pro / Parm's Mania Weekend preview. So we need to get into Q&AR. Our first question comes from Porik. Have any placements on VP 100 shocked you? Chris, you're the main.
I'm
Go ahead.
I'm the only person who voted for Jade Cargill. Everyone listening to this, go fuck yourself.
That was the most excited you've been about
misogynists.
anything.
Too many misogynists in the
next
voting
year.
scene.
Okay, but Chris, this is your baby. What's been the shocking thing to you so far?
I am kind of surprised that because there are people who vote and have very heavy like WWE ballots, and they didn't vote Jade Cargill. What's wrong with them? She's definitely better than some of those people that got votes.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you voted for Jey Uso and you didn't vote for Jade Cargill, they almost have the same name, so I understand you might have gotten a little confused, bashing at the keyboard with your wrists or whatever. But God, I'm so furious at all of you. It's like I understand, like, yeah, no one else voted for Effie because everyone who listens to this is deeply homophobic, and I'm the only person who isn't. But Jade Cargill, come on.
I just watched a man deep throat a dildo multiple times, so don't be calling me homophobic.
Yeah, and you were so angry about it.
You really got me there. My biggest surprises are usually just like, oh, I forgot that guy. So I don't even know if that counts. When I'm like, I see Artemis Spencer's name come up and go, he should have been somewhere on my list probably.
I actually was surprised that I had Penta on my ballot. I think I was the only voter for Penta or something. I was the high voter for Penta, and I was like, wait a minute, I voted for Penta?
Oh, Chris, you have Tanahashi listed as the highest 7 ballot wrestler. Does that mean lowest?
Oh yeah, that was lowest.
Okay, that makes way more sense, but that one's not shocking. I just wanted to clarify that, because that was like shocking from a math standpoint. But yeah, no huge. I mean, it's kind of hard to be like too shocked that like, oh, I thought this guy would be 365 instead of 521. Like the shocking stuff's coming, I think. Let's see.
You'll all be shocked in the end.
Nick Yelman says best possible tag team of 2 gimmicks performed by the same person. For example, Papa Shango and The Godfather. Anyone got a good one for this? All right.
Katsuyori Shibata and Makai Club number 4.
That's good. My answer, like I just always come up with boring answers to these questions when I go, oh, Dude
unless
Love and
unless he
Cactus
was a
Jack.
different Makai number. I think he was Makai number 4. If he wasn't, just pretend I said the correct one.
A tag team, or not a tag team, a stable of Typhoon and Tugboat and Shockmaster and Big Bubba and Sugar Daddy and Hercules Haggerty.
Pretty good. Andy
feel
threw
like
into this one best possible match between 2 gimmicks of the same person as well. So like that, I think that Cactus and Dude would be a good tag team. I don't know that I think they'd be a good singles match.
I feel no, you're right. You're right. Because Dude really love working them headlocks and stuff.
Yeah.
Cactus is much into the spot monkey.
So you guys have any ones for best possible match between the 2 of the same person?
Jim Neidhart versus the Klansman.
I would watch that, unfortunately.
That's
Baby
another one I
Shibata being an asshole to John Akiyama versus adult Shibata hating young people.
We have a question
Those are the same
just for Pat. Is
Oh, God.
Rule Breakers with Soraya better than Talk Tua?
First off, it's Soraya.
Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry,
you gotta say her name right. Put some respect on it. I have not listened to Talk Tua. It's hard to imagine, like it. I don't want to spoil my perfect imagining of Talk Tua by actually listening to it. It's like Schrodinger's box. So inconclusive.
All right.
I will say that listening to how fucking dumb Rule Breakers is, in like a good way, it makes me miss Talking Shop when they were just hanging out in the Tokyo Dome Hotel and getting AJ Styles to say the N-word and other just absolutely stupid podcast shenanigans.
Now that's back or coming back though, right?
I don't know.
I think it is because they were
mean-
shitting on all the marks and WWE taking pictures with Dwayne.
The thing is, I don't listen to anything they say unless they're doing it in the Howard Finkel voice.
Fair enough. Haven has, what video game do you have the most hours in? Steph guessed I was an MW3 guy, which I think is, if they're referring to the newer Call of Duty. I don't play enough video games now. My answer is Skyrim, and it's not close. I've played thousands of hours of that stupid game. Chris, what about you? You're a video game guy. What do you have the most hours in?
Probably Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3
All right.
or Civ 4.
Arm, are you a video game player? And if so, what video game do you have the most hours in?
Not as much this year and last year, but I did buy the Steam to play a little bit. It's unfortunately probably something I either played as a kid, like Super Smash Bros. Melee. But the actual answer, if I go by like what I can check, it's unfortunately Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, which I have 4-figure amount of hours in summer. See, it was a real COVID break area, I think, for me also. I only stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Like last year because we're still in the same health format. But unfortunately, Yu-Gi-Oh! Does have its grips on me because there's 2 different Dynasty Pro Wrestling archetypes. So that's unfortunately too
So,
harmful.
if you were able to book your Mania Weekend Yu-Gi-Oh match with another wrestler, who is the wrestler you would want to play Yu-Gi-Oh against?
The actual
bucket
answer is they're
list.
on the show because my friend just started them because we're both Yu-Gi-Oh nerds. Richie Coy.
Okay,
I know
so that's
AK
another selling point.
was apparently a very talented Yu-Gi-Oh player at one point. Because like he got the full on like 3rd best player in Spain at one point or some shit. But I ain't booking
Wow.
that, man. I respect independence too much to cave in. Like Josh Barnett, please don't cave in my skull. Josh Barnett was a joke.
He wants to book these wrestlers so badly that he's throwing Lou Nixon to the curb.
That's crazy to me, man. Especially when like just have Lou Nixon kill a man in 30 seconds. But apparently he will be back on Bloodsport very soon, though, which is nice.
Oh, did Josh tweet about it or something?
Lou Nixon made another where Josh Burnett was like, "Shit, I didn't know," like, so because he wasn't apparently he was not aware Lou Nixon was off the card. So he was like, "I'm so sorry. We'll get you on. We'll pay you, of course, anyways, and like we'll get you on like the immediate next Bloodsport or something."
Meanwhile, Brett said that Josh is the one who books this show.
Yeah, I say it's funny that
GCW.
Josh and Brett both don't know who's getting booked. So that's interesting.
From what I can tell,
all roads are pointing to Gabe.
From what I can tell, we're trying from myself trying to brother my way into shows. Brett still handles a lot of the logistics and just the booking of the matches themselves that like the other people handle during the collective.
Eamon wants to know what our favorite Big Show match is. A few episodes back, we were talking about WWECW, and my favorite Big Show match might be Big Show versus Ric Flair for the ECW title. There might be more obvious answers I'm forgetting, but that's what I got. Pat, what about you?
It's not a match so much as the Undertaker breaking a bat over his head. That wasn't part of a match, but it's still in my brain. I'm like, that is the coolest shit that anyone has ever done on television, is genuinely break a Louisville Slugger over someone's head.
All right, Parm, do you have a favorite Big Show match?
I actually have several. Manga versus the Giant is my WCW era Big Show match. That's like a 5-minute little sprint. And I don't know how I can describe a Big Show versus Manga as a sprint, but it really is. It's delightful. It's on YouTube. The Big Show Mankind like Boiler Room Brawl goes pretty crazy. It's like one of the most fun, uncommon, like no ring, like cinema matches, I guess it's called. Things I've seen. It's really lost in the aether of other insane Foley matches. What is probably, unfortunately, Alberto's best match, like that little last man standing match they had. The Ric Flair match you mentioned, because the Big Show WWE ECW run is like has some really nice stuff in it. What am I gonna say? The stairs match, the one of a kind Eric Rowan stairs match is the stuff of legend. And fine, and this is like maybe
I was there
also
live.
The Floyd Mayweather match is fun also, but this is potentially a
Oh
hot
shit,
take,
that's
though.
probably my real answer.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
match
no,
was
that's not
great.
for life. I also thought about it while talking mid sentence. There's real delightful little thing where I'm definitely the high guy because I just find it so fascinating to watch. The Big Show Batista match for the ECW belt, where the crowd rejected so horribly. Some of the most like hardcore rejection I've seen on a show. So I'm like, I kind of love watching. The work isn't bad. The work is already good. The crowd doesn't not give a fuck. So I kind of
I've
love
watched
that.
that somewhat recently, and it's like totally fine, and the crowd is reacting like it's the worst thing they've ever seen in the world.
Yeah, like they're reacting like someone is shooting a puppy in the ring.
Yes, it is like legitimately some
With
of the most violence I've seen from a WWE crowd in my life. Also, shout out the
I
time
pulled it up just now, and that
Sorry, say.
I was saying I pulled up the card real fast, and that crowd set through Balls Mahoney versus Rene Dupree. So it's
Well,
like
that's real.
calm down.
That's real ECW. Both Mahoney's there.
Yeah. Also, these are not matches, but I'm already talking about the Big Show so much. Shout out to that, but he was honestly, I'm on a call by Will Hobbs. Took a perfect plex from Mr. Perfect / Kurt Hennig, and my personal favorite of the Big Show doing crazy high spots or taking them when Goldberg hit him with the jackhammer. That was used to.
I don't know why this is making me think of this, but I gotta go all the way back to the through line of this show is the Mickey Knuckles match. The finish, not the finish, but towards the end of the match, she takes a choke slam, I believe, on a car. She doesn't get up even a little bit. Like I'm just picturing Big Show getting up for all those moves, and Mickey, I don't think her feet left the ground.
Oh no, they did not.
Well, to be fair, I've seen Big Show
oh.
kept up, but I've never seen Mickey Knuckles kept up.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, there's a, I guess, different level of
I know way
athletes.
more about the Big Show than I realized. Holy shit! I guess I'm a Big Show super fan without realizing.
I did feel like I unlocked something. I was like, "You got any Big Show thoughts?" You're like, "A lot."
and I'm one of those guys who keeps a record, so it's easy for me to like go back and check stuff.
Okay, now here we have a question from Pork that I think really what we need is to have Parm find out the answer. What is Mad Dog's favorite Saw movie?
You know what?
I don't know.
Just for this, I will tonight message him about it, and I
Boom.
will get
We've
back to
made
you
it.
for the next 5 people. You gotta listen to the next episode. They will give you your answer if he answers me back.
There you go. See, we're promoting next week.
While
If
we
you want to
have
know
you,
the
though,
answer,
do you
I'm a
have a
worker. I
favorite
put over
Saw
the
movie?
chair.
So I can,
I do good business. Okay, I do good business when I work for a
I've
place.
got a
That
I've
can
got a
find security.
spreadsheet going of wrestlers' favorite Saw movies. So Parm, if you have a favorite Saw movie, I will add you to the spreadsheet.
Just laughing my ass off when I watch people play Heavy Rain because I've not actually seen a Saw movie before.
Unfortunately, it does not. Heavy Rain is a brain broken vision from David Cage.
Fine. Zero
as
Escape is
opposed
kind
to
of Zero
Cage's.
Escape has the Jigsaw vibe to it. And people enjoy horror video games.
Well, I'm adding you to the NA column, which
I
also
love.
contains Kyle Fletcher. So you are in good company.
There we go.
Two hot guys right there. You love to see it.
We're just manifesting that singles match.
You know what? If I ever make it on EW Dark, name drop the podcast. Hello, my PO will have to go to the mugs.
Next question. Kana wants to know what wrestler on the current WWE roster should they kill off on Good Friday night SmackDown and then resurrect on night 2 of WrestleMania?
It should just be Chad Gable again. He's been killed off like 5 times on TV.
I mean, they jumped the gun on, but that's the whole Jade Cargill plot line for Mania, is that she was killed on some random episode of SmackDown and rose again at Elimination Chamber.
See, I think the answer is Triple H, and when they bring him back, he's like, guys, I don't want to come back. I don't want to be resurrected. Don't put me on TV. Chris, you have an answer?
No, it should be Chad Gable, and when he comes back, he's like, "No, I'm not racist." What?
What if Chad Gable's the
Jade
new
says
podcast?
Chad Gable's the name of the podcast? What?
I was gonna say, sorry, I mumbled a little bit. Now I'm imagining Chad Gable was secretly the new La Parka. So La Parka takes off the mask of Mania, revealing it's been Gable the entire time.
AAA would like shit themselves to be able to do that. I feel like they genuinely would like throw away a new Laparca character if it got them a tiny crumb of WrestleMania time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like Conan Latin Lover, they would do that in like if Triple H called, they would just answer the phone and say yes.
Yes. I actually got a little worried when they said that Chad Gable, when like there were all those rumors that he was going to go wrestle in Mexico. I was like, oh my god, they'll put him over anybody. Jade is a question that I don't
That
totally agree with the premise of. Seeing as almost Halloween season, what horror icon should be turning the wrestlers that haven't yet, and what modern day promotions will they fit in? This feels like asking our podcast is just Jigsaw or
But Jigsaw's already a wrestler, technically, though, is the issue.
And
oh shit.
yeah, and Jigsaw would not make. I mean, he is an old man who is dying of cancer. So,
But Jigsaw would be a great match. Jigsaw could do a Fonzie type of match, you know?
I imagine Jigsaw as the Linda McMahon figure who's like sitting comatose in a wheelchair for the entire match until he gets up and kicks the other manager in the dick.
oh, but instead he's got Costas Mandylor in the ring for him as his protege.
Exactly. He's got Josh Barnett as his apprentice.
Okay.
My
We're getting
real answer
something.
is the kid from Trick or Treat, so he can join Damus in the Midget Warrior Wrestling or whatever it's called.
God,
I can't remember
Demus
the
is
character's
coming to
name.
Demus is coming to Vancouver live in like June, but it would have to be part of the Midget Wrestling Warriors tour. So I'm really debating if it's worth it or not.
Well, what it's worth is you got to throw up a Dusk Pro show and book him.
He's already flying out the next day for the next stop on the tour is the issue.
Oh well,
Someday though, someday. No.
What if WWE booked the Wyatt Six? That'd be pretty cool, right? Don't people? They're horror villains. I have no
Not
idea if
from
they're
the
on WTV.
movies.
They are not.
Okay. Best John Cena. Oh, this is from Tsunami Poppy. Best John Cena shirt ever. This might be a lame answer. I like the one that looks like Super Mario 3.
I
I was
hate
gonna
that
say
one.
the same thing actually.
You
It
hate that
looks-
one?
It looks weird that it doesn't have a mustache. Just the nose is off-putting to me.
Oh, I like it, and I think they sold it as an NFT, which is really cool because I love
Oh,
NFTs.
never mind. There's like the
I always-
AWA logo John Cena shirt. I kind of am a fan of that one also.
Yeah, Steph brought up that's probably the number one seed right there.
I have nostalgia for that intensely horrible looking. It was a white shirt with the belt printed across the stomach, and it said like "the champ is here" and like an arrow
I
pointing
know the
down.
one. I know the one.
Mm.
Sorry, I'm gonna share this, but this popped up in like this popped up where it just says white zombie and there's Goku and John Cena stock images on top of it. I said John Cena share on Google. I think that's the winner. I'm gonna share it to Dan so he can see it. Oh wait, what am I saying? There's a freaking Discord. I can just show it in, but I love it so much.
I don't understand it, but I like it. The last farewell shirt, I was like, oh man, John Cena farewell shirt. Let me pull it up. It is so bad. After this, you can't see me, but it's
where he's like wearing the like England flag and the hat and stuff.
well. This one has after this, you can't see me printed on a door on the back of the shirt.
Oh, I know that one too.
I just don't understand the door.
Yeah.
It's the forbidden door that he's stepping through into.
Oh, he's going to New Japan?
I guess, or Hollywood, or
Mexico.
one of those places.
Thank you very much. John Cena in Arena, Mexico.
No, John Cena in like Arena Naucalpan, or fucking Arena San Juan Pantitlan or whatever. Like John Cena in like John Cena in those arenas where it looks like, okay, if the building inspector came in, wrestling would stop in this city.
I'm gonna ask these out of order because I want to end with Tim's question. Orchid says, which '80s era Jim Crockett promotion wrestlers would have the hardest and easiest time understanding furries? I don't know who would have a good time with an easy time with it.
I feel
I,
that they
I
think
feel
of it
like
like gimmicks, like worker gimmicks that have an easier time understanding it, though. You know?
Oh, okay. But like the men themselves will just be deeply, deeply upset.
Yeah.
I feel like the more like party hardy types would just be like, hell yeah, wear your freaky suit, as long as you let me get at some of your drugs, we're good. And I don't know, for some reason my brain's going to like Dick Slater as someone who would just be like, the only rats I'm interested in are 16-year-old girls, so get the fuck away from me.
Well, I mean, I think it's fair to say the guy that was in the KKK. Wait, was that Dick?
Well,
That was Dick
yeah, but
Murdoch. Wait, I got the wrong Dick.
I
I got the
mean,
wrong Dick.
there are plenty of furries who are in the KKK. Let's be honest.
But yeah, I wanted to save Tim's question for last here because it's in response to Pat you asking for XPW questions. Who from the current deathmatch scene would you want to see in a buck naked match?
So I actually thought about this. My answer is the match that I was deprived of at ICW, Rule versus Sadika, because it would answer the question: if it's a buck naked match, do you have to unmask?
I think you gotta,
We'll never know. We'll never know. I mean,
unless you
if
book
it's
this.
not an if it's not an Apuestas match.
Um, See, I went a different way with it. My thought was I'd like to get like Nick Gage and Matt Tremont in there because I know these men don't have health insurance. Get a doctor in the crowd, be like, just take a scan at their bodies real quick. Give me your thoughts.
I think if
Uh,
you had a doctor just look at Matt Tremont's head, he would immediately be like, "Oh my god!" Like,
Imagine if deathmatch wrestlers had to be cleared like they're like professional athletes. The scene would die instantly.
Okay, so like I
it was
went to a deathmatch show the other day. Like after the show, the medic was trying to actually like check up on the wrestlers, and he got like legitimately fucking furious because the wrestlers refused because they were like, "No, we need to take the photos of our cool blood first, so they know we're tough." And that medic like lost it. It's like, what is wrong with you, fucking it? Let me check up on you because he's seeing them bleed and stuff, go through glass,
yeah.
and just like imagining that on like a wide scale is so funny. That alone would
There-
make it worth it.
this weekend, Crimson Crown Wrestling is running, and oh god, I think I might have closed it. Or no, I still have it open. Thank God. Um, they are running an STD death match, where STD, it's like TLC, but it's storage bins, terracotta, and doors. But I saw that and I'm just like, they put Hardcore Hillbilly, Dr. Redacted, and Fern Owens in an STD match, and I was just kind of like, well, yeah, no shit.
Parm, do you have anyone you want to see in a buck naked match? I mean, you're a promoter.
What's
You can make
the
this happen.
What exactly is a buck naked match? I'm sorry, I don't know my death matches too well. Is
So
it
Oh,
literally naked?
in XPW, they promoted a show. It was during the era when WWF was doing like bra and panties matches.
Yeah.
And since XPW had the porn connections, they promoted, we're doing Lizzie Borden, I think it was Lizzie Borden and Veronica Kane. It might have been Christy Mist. But it was a buck naked match where not only would they strip them down to their underwear, the winner was the first person to strip the other completely naked. And in
Uh-huh.
classic XPW fashion, once some of the clothes came off, the lights went out, and when they came back on, both women were gone. It was all a big, swerve angle, and all the 2001 era teenage boys on the internet were very upset that Rob Black,
I,
the guy who filmed a porno of Osama bin Laden fucking Veronica Kane, they were upset that he did not, you know, like live up to his promise of selling actual nudity on an
I,
XP.
well,
I'm
what's so great
processing
about that?
the last part of what you. I'm just really processing the last part of what you just said there. So you know what? I feel we need people who like really know that stipulation well. I feel Sexy Eddie would thrive in that match for
Well,
sure.
Sexy Eddie would lose. Like he would be like Mil Mascaras throwing himself over the top rope to do a plancha and
That'd be the
eliminating
issue.
himself for the Royal
What
Rumble.
can he do without the naked moonsault? Well, how can he work without the naked moonsault? You know, that's the story of the match. He has to overcome it. The question is now, like, who does he face? Who's his ideal opponent? Phil should be someone with a lot of clothes on, but can
That's
still
what
do
I
a
was
bunch of
saying. Like,
playable
who
body.
really suits up?
Doctor Redacted wears a lot of clothes. You know, I feel the name works for like a really dirty stipulation because like Doctor Redacted did Buck Naked. He's probably done a porno with his partner or something at some point. You know, it'd probably be like match made in heaven. Him and Sexy Eddie.
All right, Chris, we still need your answer.
Bring Ian Rotten out of retirement.
There we go. I want everyone to know
Doesn't
this
even
is
have
one,
an
this
opponent. It's just Ian Rotten in a buck naked match. No opponent.
Versus
Coming
the
out to the
Invisible
ring.
Man.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Ian Rotten just starts taking his clothes off in the ring, and you just see police sirens light up outside the windows of the venue.
I want everyone to know this is one of the games that Sam would have absolutely refused to partake in. So good thing he's not here.
What a prude! What a fucking
Uh,
prude!
He gets on our Discord being like, give me questions, and then he's just ruthless to people. He's like, shitty question, next. And we miss him. But yeah, that's Q&AR. So I think that pretty much wraps up. I mean, everyone needs to go to Dusk Pro if you're in the area. I mean, Dusk_Pro Res on X. Where else can they find you, Parm?
I am on the Blue Sky. I'm one of the 12 people total on that site. I'm on the Instagrams. Dusk Pro is also on all those sites. If you find it long enough, you can find my old Reddit account, I'm sure, where I'm posting like PNW review write-ups, but we'll ignore that in general. Those are the main things, really. Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky. I don't even use my own Twitter, really, because it's a hell site, but everything's a hell site these days, I guess. You can find me lurking quietly in various discords under my burner account that gets exposed by Sam the first week I'm in the Violent People Discord, etc. So that's your plug. Join the Violent People Discord if you somehow haven't after listening to this podcast for 45 weeks.
That would be a crazy choice. But yeah, thanks for coming on. Everyone, buy tickets to Dusk Pro and read the VP 100s.
Yeah. Oh, also, I sharing our Discords. The Moonsault Collective Discord also pretty cool. You know, it's like the Violent People Radio Discord, but with a lot more Zoomers and a lot more Lucha Libres of deathmatch wrestling talk.
There's more Zoomers?
There's even
Oh,
more
God.
somehow.
And what the Moonlight Collective Discord you said?
Moonsault Collective.
Moonsault Collective. Okay.
They're
All right.
also Dusk Pro fans, so I gotta give it up. And they love the junkyard.
Oh, yeah.
They'd fit right in with us. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.